be doing a book talk, book review today, and this is my new setup. I am sitting in one of my bar stools right now, and you can see both my bookshelves, so I hope that this works. It's a lot more comfortable than standing in front of just one bookshelf. So let's get on to the book review. I'm going to be going over 4 by Veronica Roth. I finished this last night. I loved it. I have my Dauntless black on, which is appropriate. So I'm going to give you a very brief summary because a lot of people have read this, and I'm just going to say if you haven't read Divergent, I wouldn't listen to this review because it's going to have spoilers in it with this book and Divergent. So let's get into it. So the book is told from Tobias, from For's point of view throughout the whole book, which I loved. It starts off just like Divergent did with Tris. For Tobias is getting ready to do his aptitude test to figure out what faction he best fits in, if it's Obligation, Erudite, Candor, Dauntless, Amity, and Tori does his aptitude test just like Trish in Divergent, and she realizes that he's Divergent and he needs to pick a different faction to get away from his father Marcus, who as you know in Divergent abuses the crap out of him, and he is petrified of Marcus, so he needs to get away from him. And he was thinking, he goes to the choosing ceremony, he's thinking, what faction could I pick that would just devastate my father, that would make him so enraged that he would never want to see me again? So he picks Dauntless, which is the perfect choice, I think, for him. He could have picked. He was thinking, he goes to the Dauntless compound, and we meet characters that we both know from Divergent, like Eric. And it was very interesting for me to see Eric before he was leader of one of the instructors in Dauntless. He was this scrawny kid that would ask all these questions, and right away you figure out that he's not the normal nice kid guy that you really want to be friends with. A guy named Amar takes For under his wing and basically just teaches him the ropes. You know, he knows that For is Divergent, but he doesn't announce it in a way that he would want it announced. And goes more in the middle of the book. For is done. He gets into Dauntless. He is now a Dauntless member. He's not an initiate anymore. Somebody dies that's very close to For that I hated in this book, and he's now wants to get a job. Max, who's his second instructor, the leader of Dauntless, offers him a job as being a leader of Dauntless. Now he doesn't want that. He doesn't want to teach the initiates all this hard work, and he bypasses the opportunity. He says, I want to be able to train the initiates. I want to work in the control room. That's what I like. I don't want to be working besides Eric, who is now the leader of Dauntless. Now, I said someone died, Amar dies, and he's trying to figure out if it was an accident or if somebody found out that he was Divergent, because he and For their simulations, fear simulations, were alike. And Janine Matthews comes into Dauntless headquarters and says, we need to test both of you. And they test For and Amar ends up plummeting down to his death, which is horrible. And I know he was pushed. I know he did not kill himself. And we go towards the ending of the book. He is figuring out that Max is working with Janine Matthews. They want to eradicate the word they used, the Obligation faction. And he's trying to figure out, how can I stop this without them finding out? Because there's something called a faction traitor. If you turn your back on a faction, you don't only become factionless. Everybody turns their back on you. You have absolutely nothing. No friends, no family, no faction. Nothing. You're done. You can actually be kicked out of the city of dystopian Chicago and never come back. And he doesn't want this. So he's trying to figure out, how can I find this out? Who can I trust? And we meet Tris, I'm so happy we got to see Trish when she's going through her initiation into Dauntless, and Forrest, her instructor. We see when Al killed himself, supposedly fell off the James Lounge and into the water. Christina's there. We see Will, Eric. Somebody comes back from the dead that Ford thought was dead. That I knew it. That part I knew who it was instantly because they're leaving notes. Ford goes to Marcus's house to warn him of what Max and Janine are trying to do to the Allegation faction. There's so much like drama and action in this book. It's so good, but I would suggest you read this book before you read Divergent, because I think you'll understand Divergent a lot better, because it goes into Ford's initiation into Dauntless and how he became a leader, and they have the new initiates there, so it's really a good book, but I would read it before Divergent. I'm going to go into spoilers now because I need to vet some stuff, so I hope that was a good synopsis. The book is amazing. It's short, so if you haven't read that book or Divergent, turn it off now. Okay, so let me just say when Marcus came into his room before he went to the choosing ceremony and broke the box that his mom left him, I was like, you son of a bitch. I wanted to strangle him. I hated Marcus. I hated him in Divergent, but I hated him even more in this one. And Eric, seeing that little like Eric before he was the psychotic coward that we know in Divergent, it was interesting. And I'm like, don't trust him for he's psychotic, he's crazy. And Amar dying, I knew that he was pushed or he was killed, because there's no way he would have jumped off even if he got Janine found out through his fear simulation if he was Divergent. I knew, I'm like, no, he did not just kill himself, he was pushed. And I think Eric helped him because Eric was working, I think he was put into Dauntless from Janine Matthews to be like her spy, her little minion, psychotic minion. And I love Triss. This Forced Fear Simulation was a lot different in this book than it was in the movie, because when they were on the cliff, he's like, oh, they jumped down, and in the movie they're like, oh no, if you jump, that's something a Divergent would do, blah blah. It was just such a good book, and I liked that he like told his mom off. You left me for my whole life, and you all of a sudden want to come back and everything be lovey-dovey. I'm like, no. She was supposed to be dead. How does she know that he picked Dauntless if she was factionless? It didn't make any sense. Acting like a jerk. Like, I know I'm supposed to hate him, but I loved him. I don't know why I liked him so much, even though he's a psychotic psychopath. I can't think of anything other things. Oh my god, the part where is at the choosing ceremony and he chooses Dauntless, and he knows that his dad is pissed off, but he looks back and oh my god, I wish that part was like in the movie, because that part would have been perfect. And him going back into Marcus's house after like 2 years of him not seeing him. Marcus, you're no longer welcome in this house. You get your Dauntless ass out of here. I'm like, oh my god. I just love it. I can go on and on with spoilers, but I don't want this to be a 40-minute video. So if you need to pick up 4, it is such a good book. As I said, read it before you read Divergent, because I think you'll understand it better. And yeah, the next book I'm going to read is The Murder Complex by Lindsay Cummings, just because I'm on a dystopian kick right now. And yeah, that's my review, and I hope you liked it, and let me know if you like this setting. So see you later.